I'm Violet Miro. I teach a couple high school courses, including Principles of Art and Design and Digital Design and Illustration, with some photography thrown in. Given what our schools are going through, I'm going to do my best to teach you about fine art and design. Before we go anywhere, I need to shout out the fabulous film teacher, Mr. James, of the I Teach video channel, because I shamelessly copied the structure of his course in order to take my course 100% online. Now that's going to take us into what we're talking about today. I say copied because that's what I did. I copied his structure and I used my own content. That's not problematic here for two reasons. One, because I gave him credit, and two, because I'm not trying to create original structure. Why reinvent the wheel, especially when we're talking about online courses? So this is relevant, bear with me. For your first activity, for your principles and my year 1 and 2 DP classes, you're going to watch, and if this is 2021, rewatch the short documentary, Everything is a Remix. Before you watch, I want you to think about a few things. I'm going to be asking you to post your thoughts in the discussion on Schoology. I'll also post the questions in the comment section below. Okay, so for part 1 of the documentary, I want you to think about the difference between ripping off someone else's art versus using it as an inspiration. If you do create something that incorporates the creation of another, how do you do that ethically? Publica en un debate sobre la diferencia entre copiar el arte de otra persona y usarlo como inspiración. Si crea algo que incorpora el arte de otro, ¿cómo lo hace éticamente? I'm also going to read you a quote from the documentary. I'm going to jump around a bit in the quote because there are subtleties that I can't say I blanket agree with, but also parts that are a bit hard to follow because he kind of jumps around. So I condensed it down to the message I want to get across and the part that I 100% agree with. You know, if you want to have that discussion with me later about the parts I don't agree with, I would love to have that. I love philosophical discussions, but that's not exactly the purpose of this video. But now I'm wondering why not. The parts that I particularly love and ascribe to as a creative, kind of describes part of the reason that I enjoy teaching, is as follows. The act of creation is surrounded by a fog of myths. Myths that creativity comes via inspiration, that original creations are the products of geniuses and appear as quickly as electricity can heat a filament. But creativity happens by applying ordinary tools of thought to existing materials, and that is copying. So put simply, copying is how we learn. And I would add, how we create, how we become creators, and how we claim we are creative. Because that gets into this whole other debate where a person says, well, I'm not creative. Well, actually, I think everyone's creative. I do think that you are creative. Scientists have to be super creative to discover anything. El acto de la creación está rodeado por una niebla de mitos. Mitos de que la creatividad proviene de la inspiración, que las creaciones originales son producto de genio y aparecen tan rápido como la electricidad puede calentar un filamento. Pero la creatividad sucede aplicando herramientas de pensamiento ordinaria a materiales existentes. Y eso es copiar. En pocas palabras, copiar es como aprendemos y como creamos, like I said before, I added. I'm not going to say any more about it because I want to hear your thoughts. So post in the discussion your thoughts and feelings about that quote. Publique en la discusión su sentimiento y pensamiento sobre esa cita. So for part 3, the quote, he says, creation requires influence. Absolutely it does. Nothing we create is done in a vacuum. So then what's the difference between copying and being original? And how are copying and being original actually similar? How can you make sure that you're creating something that's a remix instead of a copy? La creación requiere influencia. Entonces, ¿cuál es la diferencia entre copiar y ser original? ¿En qué se parecen copiar y ser original? ¿Cómo puede asegurarse de que está creando algo que sea un remix en lugar de una copia? In part 4, the narrator talks about copyright, intellectual property, sample trolls, patent trolls, etc. I want you to share your thoughts about that in the discussion. And please don't hold yourself back or limit your comments. I'm not asking that you limit your commentary to only the realm of art. I want to hear everything that you're thinking and feeling about that. Y no voy a traducir esa pregunta porque tendría que usar las palabras en inglés de todo modo. So I hope you enjoyed my first video lesson. As I'm sure you can guess, I messed up a lot during this recording, and I'll post some bloopers at the end for fun. So enjoy everything as a remix. The link to the video on YouTube is below, and I will see you in class or in virtual class or in another lesson. I also needed to get on here to talk about my setting. This is my art. This is like my family wall, my portrait wall. So this is where all the portraits are, especially from my family. And then each wall kind of has a different theme. I honestly don't remember if I did this painting in high school or if one of my friends did. This is a cast of my face from high school. I created these at a residency at the Sunset Art Studios, which is an incredible residency you should look into. Hopefully they're surviving the pandemic. I haven't talked to them recently, so I'm not sure. And I made those, I think, when I was an undergrad. I was just playing around. And then that is there's a name for like posters from back in the day. I took a class on it, and I made that with a legit letterpress machine, the old machines where you put the letters down one by one and you roll the paper over the ink. So that is this little interesting setting, because I'm sure at least one of you was like, where the heck is she at right now? And what is all of that around her? Because my house has to be a gallery museum. Hello. That's all. Barely walk around in here. I can't walk around here. There's no way. I need to go make sure that my hair is not looking too crazy. So that hair really wants all the attention. James, this will be another like chance for you to tell me a better way than to be reading my script off of paper. I saw that there was like some teleprompter apps for iPad. I just couldn't figure out how to make that work. Oh my God, here I am asking James more questions. See, because if I had a teleprompter, I wouldn't have to like do the whole teacher thing where